Do you like my new set? That's the question that I have.
I do like your new set.
Do you
Why
like
are you
the
wearing
set?
a New York shirt, though? I don't get that.
New York, because I got the win last night.
Yeah, but that's not a New York Liberty. That's men's sports. You're wearing men. Actually, you're
It's not a
wearing
jersey.
man's sport on the
I can't
podcast,
take it off. I can't take it off. It won't.
Well, that's
look
too
good.
bad. You made me take mine off,
No,
so
I'm
that
not
needs
gonna-
to come off.
No, I'm not taking it off.
Adrian, I'm gonna do what you do.
You were
Adrian,
such-
tell me, back me up.
I now know why you were disliked as a kid. I now know why people bullied you. I now get it. I never got it, and because you're fucking annoying. Welcome to Let Her Shoot, the only podcast that covers women's sports the way that only two women co-hosts could do it. Someone's on their menstrual cycle. I know it's not me. Covers women's sports the way that we want them
It's not
covered.
me.
No bullshit. No kid gloves. Someone is. Just respect for the athletes and all the reasons to stay locked in. Sarah Chavnik. She's the co-host and producer. She's not getting the award-winning, Emmy award-winning shout-out today. Trista Crick here, 0-time Emmy award-winning talent were nominated. If you like our stuff, get onto YouTube. Subscribe. It's obviously going to be a hot one. iHeart, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. What's on the goddamn menu today?
Your spiciness is probably first on the menu. That's number one. Number two, we're talking the first games of the playoffs last night. I don't think there was any surprises in the outcomes of the game. I mean, I was waiting for an upset. None came. Spoiler alert. The Chicago Sky mess is ongoing.
It's ongoing.
I don't think it'll ever end. Plus, little NWSL stuff going on. There was another medical emergency last night. I want to talk about how the NWSL handled this one in comparison to the Savvy King one, because I think we've seen what we saw was an immediate change of course, and I think we got to applaud them for that.
And they deleted all the stuff off of Twitter or X or Threads.
Yeah,
I couldn't even see what you wanting me to see. So I don't actually. You're gonna have to play it for me so that I know what happened.
But we'll start with some notes from the Dub Club, because that's our new favorite segment, is just spreading the gossip of the people who follow us and comment on our pages.
It's gospel, not gossip.
What?
It's spreading the gospel, not spreading the gossip.
It's spreading both.
Got it. Okay.
You didn't see this one because you got blocked, but Shaquille O'Neal did share one of our posts.
Did we need to say that?
Know. Well, I mean, it's part of the story.
How many people is Trista blocked by? That's the question. And the answer is we don't know, because I can't see how many people have blocked me.
Do you want to tell the story?
About why Shaq blocked me?
No, about what Shaq shared on our page.
Well, we talked about all the bullshit and the long-time malfeasance by the Chicago Sky. And the malfeasance has been since probably the inception of the team. And Shaq, for those who are fans of ours that are not deep into the weeds and the lore of the LSU sort of connection, mentorship, familial situation between Angel Reese and Shaq, both went to LSU. Shaq has taken Angel under her wing. He is now the CEO and president of the Reebok shoe basketball division. I think that's probably said wrong, but what's new? And so he is the one who got Angel Reese her signature shoe. And he reposted the video that I went down the line on all the bullshit that the Chicago Sky have been doing and how this is not really Angel Reese's fault. And then I had a message at the end of the video that said, Angel, get out, right? Leave. Get out, go. You know what time it is. What type of time the Chicago Sky on. And he posted that to his story. So if you were reading between the lines, you could maybe say that Shaq co-signed Angel Reese requesting a trade. If I was going to make a social clip out of that piece, that would be the text on screen. Shaq co-signs Angel Reese trade request? Question mark. Because that's how it seemed.
Yeah, and we don't know that Angel has made a trade request or is going to make a trade request, but I think it's pretty apparent to anyone with eyeballs that her time in Chicago is coming to a close.
Well, we know that if she doesn't request a trade, that they're not going to trade her. So Jeff Pagliacca had his exit interview, said a lot of things, positive things about Angel. He also said, we had our moment. The fact that they suspended her for a half a game, like a Minnie Mouse organization that they are. And we've moved past it. But he also did say, which I thought was curious, that Sloot, the 37-year-old player who's coming off of an ACL, will be back. Sarah, will be back? Just definitively? Oh, yeah, we don't know how her rehab's going to go. She's been out for the whole season. And we also need another guard. And we also don't have her first-round pick because we traded it to Minnesota to get Haley Van Lith, who's done absolutely fucking nothing this year. Sorry, HVL, that's not really personal, but it's more an indictment on the decision-making of this front office.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Jeff Pagliacca, like, I saw that all over. And I even saw, like, on your page, there was, like, he threw shade. I don't think he threw shade. I think he gave the very PR response to everything. Like, she's a big talent. We'd love to have her back. But
sometimes, though, it's what you don't say in comparison to what you say positively about others. He said, like, oh, yeah, Angel's, she had some good games for us. She's taken a leap her second year. She's shown us some good things. And it's like, well, tell me about Camila Cardoso. Oh, Camila's a beast. And you're like, whoa, okay. That energy change is noted. And I think also for Rachel Bannum, I don't know how she really factors into this drama. She was the one who kind of was like...
She kind of got, like, thrown in... Like, she kind of got astray in a weird way.
And then they were like, hey, how do you like being on the Sky? And she's like, well, I kind of like it a lot because I'm getting so much playing time. And it's like, yeah, Rachel Bannum, you are not good enough to play for good franchises. That's really what an indictment is on this roster, is that you are a player that plays a lot of minutes. And you would not play minutes pretty much anywhere else.
I do think, though, that there's a little bit of an indictment on the WNBA, or at least the local Chicago WNBA media, in terms of these exit interviews, though.
Oh,
because these questions, like, are just, like, lobs, right? Like, we're just, like, where's the question about production? Where's the question about wins? Where's the question about, hey, where's the facility? When's that opening? Hey, how are you going to recruit players in the offseason? How are you going to convince them to come here? What is the culture that needs to change? Instead, it's like all rainbows and sunshine and butterflies and, Haley, tell us about your fits this season. And it's like, why is this the exit interview? Why are these the questions being asked? What is going on? Where is the journalistic integrity to actually get to the bottom of what's happening in the Sky organization?
There's not. And I think that's an issue with women's media, is that it's kind of like Russia internally a little bit.
Don't ask. Yeah.
Where it's like, or North Korea, where it's like, that there's some listening device in your home at all times. And so you can't really say anything disparaging or even questioning about the franchises that you cover, because then all of a sudden it's like your media credentials have been revoked. All of a sudden you don't have access anymore. We are getting there's a lot of state-sponsored media stuff going on in women's sports, which is why probably they hate me, honestly. But real quick, to that end, is that the fans, the like little like hives online, I don't know if you've seen it. I become like a Chicago Sky fucking TD Jakes. Like, I'm the reverend against, they really like post everything. TD Jakes is like a reverend motivational speaker You could use any, that's just the one that came to mind. And where they've taken every clip I've ever made in history about Angel Reese and how bad the Sky organization are from literally like years ago, like a year ago when she was in Unrivaled. And I was like, oh, Angel, baby, you're not getting the facilities that you think you're getting at Unrivaled. And they're like posting those now, like, oh, she knew.
So you just wanted to brag about yourself, is what you're doing.
Well, what I wanted to say is that we collectively are moving the needle and applying pressure on the North Korea franchise within the WNBA, which is the Chicago Sky.
Let's look ahead though. Let's Angel skipped out on her immediate exit interview, which a lot of people were pointing to saying like,
tremendous. Yeah,
but she also did that last year. And she did have an appearance that night at the men. I don't even know who was. I don't know if it was, what was it? MMA or boxing or whatever. I don't know. It was
she was with it was Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, sure. I didn't know who the guy was.
It's Bud Crawford.
Yeah. I didn't know who he was. I don't know who he is.
Whooping feet.
Walked in this room and punched me in the face, I would say thanks. I don't know who
No, you wouldn't say thanks. You'd be in the hospital.
Sure. Get money from it though, so I would say thank you. Get paid a lot of money.
Eventually, once you stop eating through a straw.
Yeah. So, and she was also in like another Netflix thing. She's been like asking to be on season 2 of Hunting Wives. I think there's like some like Netflix obligation with Angel, and I don't know what that is. Maybe there's a doc coming out about her. Maybe there's some sort of like long-term deal with her going on that she had a prior obligation to be there. And look, they're probably paying her a hell of a lot more than the Sky organization is to show up at an exit interview. So I say go on your private jet, go to wherever that fight was and enjoy it. And when you get back, request that trade. And where would you like to see her go? Because I've seen a lot of people saying Mystics. I've seen a lot of people saying Dallas. But I think you think that those aren't fits.
Yeah, I think number one, Dallas is just a no-go. Just a no-go. She's
a no-fly zone.
She's asking to be coached hard.
You don't think Man Bun's going to do that?
Man Bun is going to give her a green juice and some chia seeds and tell her we're all just sticking together throughout all the losing. They're just another losing franchise in a slightly warmer climate. Just with Paige, with a better guard. So, and maybe you say, all right, well, we're going to probably get AZ. And if we have AZ and Angel and Paige, now we're cooking with gas. But what is that trade? What are you trading them to get her? It's not going to take nothing. Arike is a free agent. So that's a no.
Oh, she's a free agent now. Okay.
So that won't work. They could have done that midway through the season if they were thinking ahead, which obviously we've talked about Dallas many, many times. They're not thinking ahead. They're just as bad. No, they're not just as bad, but they're almost as bad as the Chicago Sky. The Mystics, I think, are a fit. I think Angel being back in the DMV makes sense, right? She's from Baltimore. The DMV would embrace her. I feel like the fan base would love her. The problem is they've got a player that sort of does what Angel Reese does, but better, and Kiki Iriafin. And so I don't think you trade a player that you just drafted in the first round last year for Angel Reese when Kiki is just a better scorer overall. Maybe she's not as good of a rebounder as Angel Reese, but I think as a complete player, she makes more sense. I would not trade her away, and they can't really play together. So it's hard because there's not that many places. You kind of have to like almost build a team around what Angel does. And then you have to almost have a team that's
Chicago was supposed to do.
Correct. But then they drafted Camilla before her, and they somewhat play the same position. They didn't get any guards to get her the ball in the spots that she needs them. I mean, that was just a bad organizational fit. Maybe it would have been like an LA Sparks. Like, I would have loved that. But then they drafted Cameron Brink. So can her and Cameron Brink play on the floor at the same time? I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be Seattle. They've got Ezzy and they've got Dominique Malanga. There's just not a lot of places that she would immediately fit in. And so, I don't know. I know she needs to be freed. We know that. Where she needs to be freed to, that is above my pay grade.
Above your pay grade.
It's above my pay grade.
Which is exactly
zero.
Exactly zero.
Exactly zero. Thank you. I was happy to say it. I know you wanted to sort of articulate that, but it's zero. My pay grade for this particular topic is a big zero.
Let's move on to the teams that are not suffering in the shadows. But the Lynx, the Dream, the Liberty, and the Aces all came away with wins last night. And I don't think that was a surprise, really. I mean, maybe the only real toss-up. Well, I mean, we talked about how the Fever Dream could be a toss-up. That ended up, I mean, I think not being.
The Mercury Liberty was the best game of them all.
Yes. But let's go kind of, we talked about this like a little bit at a glance last night when we were putting this rundown together. And we said, what are kind of the talking points? The Lynx can't be stopped, right? Like that's...
Just get their rings ready.
Just get the rings ready. I think the Valkyries gave a valiant effort.
They were getting kind of fucked. They were getting kind of fucked. Every time they made a little baby run. And listen, they lost by a bajillion. So at the end of the day, like I said, the Lynx are the best team in the league, and they have been all year. But it was like every time they sort of chipped away, it was like, beep, beep, couple of fouls against them. And Natalie Nakase, who's going to win Coach of the Year, wasn't happy. And she shouldn't have been happy. You kind of need everything to go your way to be able to compete with a buzzsaw like the Minnesota Lynx.
The Aces also dominated last night over the Storm, which, again, at like midnight, I turned the game off and went to bed because I was like, well, this is a 30-point difference right now. And
I'm really proud of you because I went to bed at 8. Which is 11 your time. That's when I knew the game was over, right around halftime, when they were talking about what NECA was going to do and Kit couldn't do. And they were allowing A'ja Wilson to go one-on-one, which is a big mistake. Big time. You cannot stop her with 2 or 3 bodies. So allowing her to go one-on-one against your rookie in Dominique Malonga, not a good move. Not a great decision. And Ezzy's a great defender as well, but you need Dominique and Ezzy to be able to sort of collapse on her and then try to spray out to shooters, right? You should guard A'ja to a degree, like teams say, we're gonna stop Jokic, right? And then let everybody else, all the others, have to beat us. And if they do, they do. But make Chelsea Gray shoot shots. Make the rest of the team, make Jewel Lloyd hit corner threes. Make Jackie Young get into the paint, collapse on her, and see if she can get the ball to A'ja into the paint. But it was just too easy for A'ja. A'ja had damn near 30 points again, which is what she's just getting all the time. The Seattle Storm were one of the best teams at turning you over in the league. I think they are the best. They're the best fast break point team for themselves. They're stealing the ball at the highest rate, and it just didn't work out that way. At all. So Michelob Ultra is a tough place to play, but Seattle, they weren't ready. They now go back to Seattle. We'll see if they figure out a way to stop A'ja, which I doubt.
The Mercury Liberty.
Ooh, this is the one I've been wanting to talk about.
I mean, it was a slog of a fourth quarter. I think neither team scored over like 10 points in the fourth quarter. It was
the third quarter was also bad. It was like 14-10 and like 10-12. That is a rough second half scoring-wise when you're up against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, which is a Super Bowl rematch. You put the best WNBA matchup against the Super Bowl rematch. Is there anything
Oh, you mean
dumber?
Like they were literally on at the same time?
Exact same time. Of course you didn't. You were a good WNBA soldier. But there was plenty of other people that were like, I kind of want to see Patrick Mahomes take on Jalen Hurts. And it was like, why can't I do the multi-box with both of these? Like, there's just YouTube TV, Fubo, get your shit together with a cross-sport, cross-gender multi-box.
Oh, maybe it's Seattle that's misogynistic because in DC, I could watch double boxed. I had a 4-box up at one point, and I had
good for you.
Florida volleyball with the
Why would Seattle
Fever dream.
How does Seattle have anything to do with it?
What?
Why does Seattle have anything to do with it?
Why did you say Seattle?
Because you just said maybe Seattle is misogynistic. What does Seattle have to do with
Portland.
anything?
I don't know.
Did you just unintentionally confuse Seattle with Portland?
I did. I did.
Bitch, we are really beefing.
I mean, they're the same thing.
They are not the same thing. Are you intentionally trying to piss me off? Because it's working. It's work. Okay, let's move on.
They look like the same city.
They're not the same city at all.
They feel the same.
Oh my God! All right,
they're in the same general direction.
I don't want to hear about your 4-box anymore. Let's talk about this matchup.
Anyway, and then I had some sort of
I don't care.
Brown
I don't.
something.
I said I don't
you only
care.
want to talk about you. We're going to talk about me.
I want to talk about the Mercury and.
Yeah, did you see Santu went on and I don't know what the exact number ended up being, but I know that she at one point missed 10 straight shots in the fourth quarter.
She was 1 for 10 from 3. She was 2 for 17 from the field. But it's not just Satu. We got to really say all of the Mercury missed shots. All of them. They shot 32.5% from the field. From the field. They shot 27% from 3, which is pretty damn good when you're shooting 32% from the field, actually. And they're just chucking. And that's what the Liberty do, so you kind of need to keep pace. But that game was probably, you could say, either team deserved to lose and either team deserved to win. Because if Phoenix just made their open shots that they had, they would have won that game. If Alyssa Thomas ended up making that, I don't know, that bunny, that bunny that she had, then probably they would have won that game too. And then on top of that, I wanted to also talk about the fact that, where is it? So
there was no
2
scoring.
Two minutes left in the tie game. Alyssa Thomas missed 2 free throws, shot an air ball, and then smoked a layup. If this was the M Sports, she would be leading A block, getting straight crushed. Instead, it's like, make her miss league. Make her miss league. Alyssa Thomas, hey, how do you feel about the fact that you smoked a wide open layup? Well, I've made thousands of them before, so I'm not really worried about it. You're not really worried about it? Well, it's a best of 3. Now you're going back to New York. And you probably had the opportunity to take the driver's seat. And instead, she ends up missing it. They go to overtime, and they end up losing that game. Kalia Copper, got smoked by Natasha Cloud. She got cooked pretty much all game as well. It was just a rough ending for Phoenix because you now have to go into a hostile environment, and that's what that's what Brooklyn is. That's just, oh, wow, what was that?
It was the mouse falling off my knee because you made me put it on my leg.
Well, it's better than you putting
go ahead.
your
You can yell at me for it.
It's better than, do you want to go get the mouse from your leg?
Well, I just was giving you the opportunity to lecture me over it falling first.
See, here we go. Anyway, it was just a very physical game. And I think for both teams, when they turn up the intensity, it's just hard to get shots to fall, shots to go down. I think the thing that's very impressive is that Kalia Copper has a lot of confidence going into Brooklyn. She said, it's Mercs against everybody. I think we can win this game. All we have to do is get one, and then we go home. And I think it's a really interesting scenario because you could make the case that, the Mercury do have a better matchup. And on top of that, now Breanna Stewart has gone down with a knee injury, and she may not play the rest of the playoffs. It looked really bad. It looked like it was a non-contact injury.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. How in trouble are they? We don't know. She went up, she winced, she came down, she grabbed her knee. There was no contact. But you could see her very visibly upset. And I think she even yelled at the trainer, get me back, get me back to the log. Yeah, get me out of here. Because I think you could just tell that she knew immediately that something was wrong. And
This is going to be one of those seasons where it's like they never had a chance, right? They never had a chance.
They did, but their injuries never allowed them to have a chance.
Well, that's what I mean. That this season, they've never had a chance. They've never been healthy enough to get into the swing. It's like going to be a what could have been season for the Liberty because they added Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud, can we just really quickly back up and give this woman her flowers? She was incredible. She went 23, 6, and 5 on 9 for 12 shooting when everybody is totally inefficient, when Sabrina Ionescu is looking like she's Houdini and she's disappeared herself, when Jonquil is just floating out into the ether doing nothing, when it's just Breanna Stewart doing the Lord's work, Natasha was the way forward for this team. She was controlling the tempo. She was setting the table. She had 4 steals. She's locking up her former teammate in Kalia Copper, which, by the way, I don't know what was going on with that because they asked Kalia about the sort of jawing back and forth, and she had a weird response to it.
You went at your former teammate a bit, Natasha Cloud. You guys are going back and forth in that second quarter. Just what was that battle like? And then also you got in a bit of foul trouble. Did that affect your aggressiveness at all on offense and defense?
Don't do it. No, it's just a great battle, right?
She just was like, made a weird face. They asked her about the back and forth between her and Natasha Cloud. And then she kind of rolled her eyes. Alyssa Thomas looked at her like, do not say anything, with a smirk on her face. And she then said, yeah, just one hell of a battle. After about a 3-second delay between the question ending and her answering. So shout out to Natasha Cloud. That's the reason that they got her, was for these types of moments.
To beef with Kalia Copper.
No, to hit threes, to lock the other player's guard down, and like to really step up when other stars are not stepping up. And then also on the opposite side, Monique Akoa-Makani, the rookie, she put Sabrina in prison, boy. She was like in isolation. She was really like strapped to the gills. Sabrina's, what did she have? She had Sabrina 3 for 12 from 3, 6 for 18 from the field, completely on an island. Monique really making life tough for her. So I thought those two players were really the key players of the game that were the role players for their individual squads. And they're going to be the ones I look at moving forward in game 2 to see how this matchup shakes out.
The Fever and Dream, this was kind of the one we picked as like, if there's going to be an upset, this is where it's going to be.
That's not true. I said that I thought the Mercury could beat the Liberty.
Yeah, but I don't know that we really consider Mercury beating the Liberty as an upset. I feel like that was
when you say that the Liberty won, you were kind of like, that's what we all expected. And it's like, not really.
Okay. I think we're splitting hairs here. But
okay.
In terms of what would be called an upset.
True upset. Yeah, the Mercury are 4 seed, Liberty are 5 seed. It could go either way. Yes.
That's a 50-50 ball, right?
Yes.
But Fever Dream.
Which, by the way, Fever Dream. A fever dream.
But you literally, you have them they're so injured that they have to put the players in the court, in the seats, because there's not enough room for them on the bench.
Yeah, they were in the nosebleeds
to accommodate
in Atlanta,
which was hilarious. Just kind of seeing them just amongst Gen Pop, just out mingling. But I think we're kind of seeing where the Fever's depth is gonna harpoon them. I think they said that they didn't have a single point off the bench in the first half.
Tough. And I think what you look at is the fact that they only had 12 points in the second quarter. And that was what killed them. Everything else was okay. Leading after the first quarter, I was like, okay, they got a little something going. It was very up and down. It was very frenetic, a lot of missed shots, and they were cruising, trying to get out into transition. a lot of fouls, a lot of like testiness. You could tell Lexi Hole was doing her damnedest to try to make things difficult.
She was everywhere.
Ryan Howard was everywhere. Alicia Gray was awesome in that game. Ryan Howard was awesome in that game. Alicia? What? Who said that?
That's how you say her name.
Alicia? No, you don't say Alicia Gray.
Yes. That's how they say it in the broadcast. I've learned this.
I'm fucking out on this. It's just like the Bijan and the Bijan. Now he's back to Bijan. I'm gonna call her Alicia Gray. Okay, just like the Leroy Butler thing.
Technically spelled all. It's like ALL.
I'm not rolling. I'm not rolling until Alicia Gray says.
I'm trying to protect you from your own.
I don't care.
Achilles.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go with Aaron instead of Aaron. Okay, fine. We're gonna do that. We'll do that. But if we want to do that, then we'll do that. Alicia, come on. Alicia Gray was tremendous. Ryan Howard was also really good. So, but I think that second quarter killed the Fever. That was, to me, the main issue, and that comes down to depth, really. And the fact that they hung with them as long as they did and lost by 12, and they found a way to win the third quarter as well. We'll have to see how things go in Cambridge, because now they go back to Indiana, which, by the way, is a Caitlin Clark rule change. They played in the playoffs last year, and then they didn't ever get a home game because they got swept. And then I was like, I think we should probably change that.
Probably should, right? Did you see Stephanie White got technical for getting all up in the ref's face? They, in unsurprising news, the refs were a centerpiece of yesterday's games, and the lack of calls or the wrong calls or there were a couple that I don't know that I agreed with, but what are your thoughts on a technical for yelling at the ref about her, that whole situation?
Got to control the game if you're the refs. So you can't have the coaches yelling at you and sniping at you. I like jawing. I like the refs less involved than more involved. But, Stephanie White is out here doing as much as she can with a team that's covered in duct tape. So really the fact that she's just really scratching and clawing out there, doing everything that she can to try to get an advantage. Kelsey Mitchell was great, by the way. I didn't give her flowers. I think she had 28 in that game. She had
one shot. I don't remember if it was third quarter, I think. But it was like a little floater, and she somehow came down weird and went down directly on her face and still made it. And I was like, that's impressive. I will give her that.
She could have been, honestly, the 27 points, though, every time I was really locked in on her, she was getting locked down. They were sending to her way. She's trying to take a screen. Yeah. Because they know that that's all they really have. I mean, you get the ball to Aaliyah Boston. I thought Aaliyah Boston, 5 personal fouls. She was a -6 on the floor. She's just got to stay out of foul trouble. And they know that they don't have any depth. That if her and Natasha Howard are in foul trouble, then it's just going to be a really, really long day. Retirement should not be overcomplicated. You should feel like the advice that you're getting fits your life, not someone else's agenda. That is straight talk and a solid strategy, and that's what you get from Fuchs Financial, our guy. Watch Ben show How to Retire on his YouTube page, which we link in the show notes. Thank you to Ben. Seriously, thank you to Ben for believing in what we're doing over here. Our first sponsor, our most important sponsor to date, and we're always going to keep it solid. So go over there and check Ben out.
Let's go over to the NWSL. Gotham FC has finally kind of got themselves. They've changed directions. I think the wind has changed their boat going the other way.
This is the sound of the wind. This is the sound of the wind.
Yeah.
Do you hear it?
Who are you looking at?
You. I'm looking at the wind.
Oh. Gotham FC brought in Jaedyn Shaw late last week, $1.25 million from North Carolina Courage. Jaedyn Shaw, if you don't know who she is, you should. She's an upcoming star in the national team. She's an upcoming, well, I don't even say upcoming. I think she's kind of been a star, but she's only 20. She's the same age.
Doesn't get as much shine as, say, like Alyssa Thompson.
No, she definitely doesn't, but they're the same age. So she's got a lot of youth to her. So Gotham feeling the need to throw a Hail Mary because we all saw what was going on over there. They just could not.
I thought they were going to sell pieces off.
Well, they decided they were going to give it one last shot. And they went out, paid $1.25 million for Jaedyn Shaw. She comes in and scores, immediately proves her worth. They're now sitting third in the table.
That's crazy.
They're
kind of the Las Vegas Aces of the NWSL.
Yeah, they kind of, and Jaedyn Shaw is Asia's locker room speech, right? Like she's that tide turning. Hey,
she's that Nalissa Smith move at the deadline.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
But way better than Nalissa Smith.
Yeah, and she came off the bench. She didn't start because, she had literally gotten there the day before. Comes off the bench, scores. They end up winning 2-0. And it's honestly, I think, going to turn them around in a way that they needed to, which is interesting to think about a team that has Esther needing like a goal scorer to come in but they need
someone else besides her. You can't just rely on only her.
No, she's a magnet. The big game though that was billed this weekend was Washington Spirit, Kansas City Current.
Oh, what a fucking snooze fest that was.
My God. Well, first of all, Shawinga didn't play.
Why not?
Unsure? They changed her status like an hour before the game. So I don't know, maybe she got sick. Maybe she got... I genuinely don't know. I hope she's not out long term because we've seen what's happened to the Orlando Pride since losing Barbara Banda, but they have just been on an absolute skid at this point. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose out of the playoffs, but it's very possible that at this point the Pride could be sitting home come October. But yeah, going back to the Spirit Current, that was probably the most boring game I've ever seen.
I honestly was just like, why am I watching this? If there's no Shawinga out there, who even if she doesn't score, she just is always doing something, She's always in the mix, making the soccer feel fun and exciting. She's nutmegging people. She's just always in the front of your eye. And when she's not out there, you really do feel like, maybe I should turn on something else.
It's actually kind of shocking, too, considering the fact that the Washington Spirit played more than half of the second half with one player down because Hal Hirschfeld went out with a red card. And they brought Dabinia in, and you're still okay, we're gonna get a score. Nope.
I think when a player goes down with the red card, I think it's actually in that team's favor. They completely change everything about their plans, especially if it's tied, right? Especially if it's still 0-0, 0-0. Then it's all right, well, we'll just pack the box and we'll just make this game slog and we'll just not, you know what I mean? I feel like whenever a team is down a player, they know what identity they have to adapt to, and it makes it the most boring soccer you've ever seen. You don't agree with that, or you do agree with that? I think it's weird when I have an opinion and you just say nothing after.
Okay.
Do you agree or do you not agree?
Yeah, I don't agree.
You don't agree?
No, I don't agree.
Okay, well, say more. Say why you don't agree.
Because you're down a woman.
Yep.
And I mean,
We saw it in the Euros. We saw it when the Spirit were down.
I mean, just historically, right? Like going down one person in hockey, in soccer. I don't think there's any other sports where you lose a human being, right? I think those are the only two.
I definitely don't lose a human being in the NFL or in
No,
the
but you
NBA.
should. You should.
You should if you get like a helmet to helmet penalty.
If you get like a targeting call,
you should be down. You should be down a safety or down a corner for the rest of the game.
That
would
you
be
can't
incredible.
replace them. Yeah, that's how you get it to stop.
That's incredible. Good idea.
Don't play without a quarterback.
But you disagree. You should say like, I don't agree when you don't agree. You don't need to just change the topic. I'm okay. I can handle it. My little ego can handle it.
Can it? Are we sure about that?
I can handle it.
Okay. I don't agree. No, I don't agree. I think that being one down makes you have to play your game entirely differently, and it's an entire defensive attack. But I also don't think that you can't win games if you're not scoring.
No, definitely you can't win. Your entire goal at that point is a tie. You definitely can't score down a man. But if it's 0-0, I think like best case scenario is you just end up with a tie and you move on. And what we've seen that in the course of the Euros that we watched and along with some of the NWSL games where you're down a player right away.
We get a lot of we seem to get a lot of yellows.
Are you guys dirty? You think
no,
the Spirit
but
are
Hal
dirty too?
Hirschfeld can be a little bit spicy.
Yeah.
Which is why I like her. She can be a little over spicy.
I feel like that's kind of your spirit animal, Hal Hirschfeld.
A little bit, yeah. Like she will yell at people just because they're pissing her off.
Mm-hmm. Just like you did earlier this morning.
Sometimes people deserve to be yelled at.
Well, sometimes people deserve to be admonished when they roll their eyes.
I didn't roll my eyes.
Everyone saw it. Okay, everyone saw it.
Who's everyone?
Everyone saw it.
You saw it. So last night in a Seattle Reign versus Racing Louisville game, Savannah DeMelo went down, collapsed on the field. To be honest, I was not watching the game. I saw the video of it almost immediately once it was posted because I saw the notification that said the game had been abandoned. And I was like, well, what happened? So I pulled it up and looked at it. I sent it to you, and by the time you went to look at it like 10 minutes later, it had been already pulled off the internet, which is great. And I'm glad that they did do that because it was pretty terrible. So what happened was it was very similar to the Savvy King kind of
just like a collapse
instance. Well, she sits down and a couple players come over to her. I think Janine Solis comes over to her and starts talking to her, and she's like looking up and talking to her, and then she just kind of starts to rock, and she grabs someone's hand and just falls backwards, and almost the camera like immediately panned out from her, but she lost consciousness. It was very clear. So it looked a lot like what happened with the Savvy King.
That's so scary.
Super scary. They immediately come, bring an ambulance on the field, take her off the field, and abandon the match, which is, that was what was talked about after the Savvy King thing occurred, was there was a lot of criticism on the NWSL, like, that game should have never continued, and they were like, well, there's no policy in place. Well, they've now since put a policy in place that if a player, it's like, if any life-saving measures are required for a player, or either team decides that they do not want to go on, then the game will be suspended or abandoned. They don't call it suspended because they will pick it back up at a later time. But it was really heart-wrenching to watch.
So is abandoning that they'll pick it up, or suspending is that they'll pick it up?
They call it abandoning. And
Which means that when you abandon something, you never go back to it.
Well, I'm just telling you that in their presser, they said the game would be rescheduled at a later date.
So they need to understand the words that are in the English language about what abandon is.
Sure.
When you abandon ship, you don't come back to the ship and try to continue. you don't continue the voyage. When you abandon your child and you leave them in a garbage can, like Brenda's got a baby, you don't come back to the baby in the garbage can.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know, but they abandoned the match. The players were visibly very upset on, comforting each other, talking. They've now announced that she is awake, that she's responsive. We don't really know.
She has Graves' disease,
yes.
Right? I don't know anything about Graves' disease.
I know, I think it has to do with like hyperthyroidism and hypertension, and it can deal with your heart. But she had another instance of this earlier this season.
Yeah, common symptoms of Graves' disease: rapid heartbeat, palpitations, tremors. Those ones I think are the heart failure if left untreated. So yeah, I think it affects the heart in a way that is similar to the instance that we've seen on the field before when people collapse.
But I mean, shout out to the NWSL for seeing an issue and immediately correcting it with the Savvy King situation. I think they learned a lot from that, and I'm glad to see that they handled this situation significantly better than they did the last one. So
agreed. Way to get your shit together, NWSL.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of, okay, we fucked that one up.
Well, and it's a good example of when there's a public pressure applied. Because if people didn't say, this is outrageous, why didn't you suspend or abandon the game? Then they don't know that what they did was wrong. They don't think about it. Public pressure and commentator pressure matters in terms of things changing in the future.
Right.
So shout out to everybody who held the NWSL accountable, everybody online, everybody who talked about it, including us.
We did it here on this podcast.
Yep, we did.
Good show.
Great show. Thank you for watching and listening, whatever way you consume our content on YouTube and Spotify and or wherever else. Shout out to iHeart for hosting our pod. Hopefully there's some ads going in that we can get paid for. And shout out to all of our fans. That's all the time that we have for this episode of Let Her Shoot. We will see you back maybe for another impromptu episode. Probably won't look as good as this.
Yeah, let's look. Hold on. Let's look at the schedule right here right quick.
We're just gonna produce it right here on the show. Like, we'll just decide when the next episode will be.
We've got games tomorrow. Well, tonight to those who are watching. We've got games Wednesday. We've got games Thursday if needed, Friday if needed.
Maybe Thursday. Maybe Thursday. We'll see.
I'm going to say this right now. I don't think the games on Friday are going to be needed.
You don't know that. I think we're going to game 3 for the Mercury. If the Valkyries can
snatch a win off the Lynx, then I'll give.
They're not doing that. But the Mercury might get a game in New York. They might get a game in New York. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, Sarah. Let her shoot. Peace up. A-Town down. My nails need to get redone.